Hey, this is Chris Walker with evangelismcoach.org, and in today's video, I want to share with you an idea that a pastor friend of mine showed me, particularly about how to do sermon recording for non-technology. In fact, I'd like to show you a way that you can start sharing your sermons again in under 30 minutes when the service is over. And so in today's video, what I want to show you is exactly how simple it is to both start recording your sermons again as well as distributing your sermons. In fact, the way that I want to show you is actually so easy to record that there's no seminary degree required. You don't need to worry about reading complicated manuals. In fact, this particular methodology is so easy to distribute that you can actually post your sermons on your website without having to do any fancy conversions or minute-by-minute copying from cassette tapes or even CDs. You'll be able to distribute your sermons ready by email so that other people can use them on their portable listening devices. The fact is that this way is extremely easy. You can record it on Sunday morning and upload it to your website by Sunday afternoon. Now, I've talked with several pastors this particular week, and all of them, it was really weird. All of them seemed to say, we don't record our sermons anymore because it's just too much of a pain in the butt. Now, some churches, of course, have the technology to use all of the available technology to them. They've got the money to buy the expensive sound equipment. They've got professional sound people who can work the studio. But a lot of our churches, particularly my readers, don't often have that kind of equipment. And so remember back when we were using cassettes and most of our churches had recording equipment to capture our sermons? Most of these pastors that I talked to this week, that was their story. They had these cassette capturing devices. But the fact is, people stopped using them. And so since people stopped using them, people stopped asking for the cassettes, and the cassettes just kind of stacked. And part of the difficulty was getting the distribution done. It would take hours to duplicate the cassettes, particularly on these slow-moving duplicating machines. But there were some problems here. The tape ran out right in the middle of your sermon. In fact, if there wasn't a person in the sound booth, they forgot to turn the tape over. And so not only did the tape run out, but the end of your sermon never came. And then there was also the loss of quality, the storage over time, and then most of us probably have tape archives that are just totally unorganized and not useful. Nobody's using them anymore, and it is just an entire mess, probably in a storage closet somewhere. But the reality is who has a cassette player anymore? It's 2010. Nobody uses a cassette player much anymore. In fact, probably if you think about around your house, when was the last time you actually bought a cassette player? When was the last time you actually bought a cassette tape? And so then a lot of churches, we tried to upgrade CD to compact discs. We bought expensive compact disc players and direct recorders. But those are just as limited as cassettes. They have limited space per CD, up to 70 minutes. And so for those long-winded preachers who go beyond 70 minutes in a service, CDs didn't work. And then CDs were scratchable, and you might very well scratch your only master copy. And then if you wanted to duplicate them, you had to buy a computer to duplicate one CD at a time. Or you can buy a $700 rack duplicator like what you see pictured. And most churches just don't have the budget to do that. And so there's no time, there's too much energy, and it just becomes a giant pain in the butt. That's what these pastors were telling me this week. And so what I want to do is I want to show you a secret tool that takes the complexity out of the equation. It's a device that makes sermon recording just way too easy, and it will help you generate new content for your website and re-jumpstart the distribution of your sermon once again. People who are visiting your website can listen to your sermons ahead of time. They can partake of the series that you're currently doing. Also, your members can very easily go re-listen to a sermon. They can download it to their iTunes, or they can download it to their portable music device. Your members who have moved far away, as a matter of fact, can still listen over the internet to your sermons. With this little device, you can put it up there, and it costs less than $100. And here it is. It's a digital voice recorder. Now, the one that you see on the screen is the one that I use. It's a little Sony. It's probably it's probably only half an inch thick. It's pretty small. And the thing that I like about it is it has 1 gigabyte of flash memory. In other words, at a normal recording, it will hold nearly 17 hours of sermons. And so if you're a long-winded preacher and you're going all weekend long, you don't have to worry about it running out. It's not going to cut off at 30 minutes. It's not going to cut off at 60 minutes. It's not going to cut off after 70 minutes. In fact, you could use it to record your entire weekend seminar. It has a little microphone input, as you see, directed right there, and the advantage of having that microphone input is that with a little cable, like what you see pictured, you can put it direct into your soundboard, just like your current equipment. And this thing is so easy that even a with the simple buttons, a junior hire could do it. It's so simple that even your oldest volunteer who is a technophobe can do it. In fact, it is so easy to just turn it off. You press record when you're starting, and you press stop when your sermon is done. It's that simple. And then there's no more conversion. This thing records direct as an MP3. You don't have to do a manual conversion process from a CD to import it anywhere. You don't have to do a minute-by-minute conversion from a tape. In fact, I've actually done that. I've hooked my tape player, my Walkman. I've had to borrow a Walkman and hooked it up to my computer, and one minute by 1 minute by 1 minute to do any kind of audio conversion to MP3. This little device records it straight to an MP3. It's also only a half-inch thick, and it's smaller than anybody's iPhone or a portable mobile phones that most of you will have. And the thing is that this will not take up a bay in your sound booth. And so let me give you the 6 steps, not 5. I figured out a different one. So 6 steps to both capture and distribute your sermons for less than $100. The first one is get a DVR. Get a digital voice recorder. This is the one that I use. This is the one that I recommend, but there are a variety of options available to you. They come with different features, but you want to have one that will have a microphone input. And I use this one because it has the ability to plug it in direct to a USB port. Second step, get a cable. You'll need a cable with a 1/4-inch jack on one end to plug it into the device, and then a cable with a audio left and right RCA jack for the other side to actually hook it up into your equipment. And then the third step, actually plug it into your system. So talk to your sound person as to where it needs to go so that you can start capturing the audio feed through your sound system. And then step number 4 is probably just a little too obvious. Hit the record button when you start speaking. And then when you stop the recording, you've got an MP3 that's ready to go. You can simply put it on your computer by transferring it to your PC or to your Mac just by using that little USB device. Now, some of them don't come with a USB device. They come with a cable instead, but the idea is the same. It functions just like a memory. And then once you get it, all you got to do is distribute it. And so you can upload it to your website, you can upload it to your iTunes feed, you can automatically email it to your members. If your website can be set up in such a way that as soon as you post it, your members will automatically get a link to download it if they wish. What you're doing by doing that is you're forming an online archive at your website, which gives you all sorts of advantages in the future. Now, to get the one that I recommend or to see other online options that are available, go to the website that you see pictured here, and you'll see my recommendations as well as some reminders as to how to use it. This is Chris Walker with evangelismcoach.org, and I hope you'll use this to start recording and distributing your sermons once again.